There we go. We're live. Hello, Tanya Powell with Adventures for Connection with Serafina.
Hi, everybody. So glad to be
Yeah,
here. Thank you.
absolutely. And so today being the 777 portal, we've done the official launch for Egypt, which is very exciting that we're doing a group trip together. And we're both vibrating every time we talk about it.
I'm
Yeah.
so excited.
I know my crown's all lit up already. I just we want to share with you a little bit about our intentions going into this so that, hello, Allison, so that you know kind of where we're coming from. Hello, Amanda. And for my intentions, I went in April. I was called to go March, actually. And I was called to go by myself and follow the rods and kind of do a bit of a surrender, which is critical in this life if you want to succeed. And so I surrendered to the rods, so to speak, my divining rods, and asked them to show me where would you like to go, what would you like me to do. I had a couple days that I had planned. Other than that, I followed the rods and did what I was called to do. And so in doing that, definitely left some energetics there, placed some crystals, left Metatron's grid hidden in plain sight. And I've basically got this path that we get to go on that is all set up and organized already. And the container is there and ready and waiting. And then we get to dive in a little deeper because now that I've been there, I know a bit more about the pyramids. I know a bit more about I didn't go into the Sphinx last time. We're going to go in there. And there's also another healing chamber that we're going to get into. So 3 different spots at Giza that are private visits, and it's included. Seraphine, did you want to add to
I
that on
think
that note?
I do. I do. What I want to share is that Giza's energy is very, very dense energy. They don't tell you any of this stuff, like sign up for those tours and all that stuff. It is dense energy. And my experience when I went last November was it's a great way to purge out things you don't even know about yourself from living in that lifetime or having this knowingness of what is still going on from there inside of you. If you're reincarnated, you're holding some of that energy. And it is a beautiful way just to let that go, being able to touch the sides of Giza and just give it all back. Giza will take it gratefully. And I think as we're there, being able to offer what we can back to Giza and the land there as well. It is so over commercialized right now. They're building the museum right there, and they're also building a shopping mall. So you can just imagine all the tourism they're trying to attract to that area when really it's a sacred space for all people to be able to go and come and experience that aha monumental thing. So I'm grateful to be going back, and I think we both, it was something that's like we have to do it first. Let's get it done over with so we can move on and start moving that the joy back into our lives of everything else that's there.
Yeah, and we've all been to Egypt in other timelines. So basically, if you're being called to go, this is going to be a really beautiful unfolding. And yes, we're doing that at the beginning so that we can then go to the Red Sea and have a bit of a cleansing and setting intentions, and then heading up to Karnak and getting to see Sekhmet as well. There's a statue there that's hidden. There's the 7 keys and 7 doors, and it's a beautiful temple as well, like really lush area, really good food. And there's a hotel that I've got booked with a pool, which is amazing. So there's going to be all this action that we're doing, but on the flip side of that, there's always space. So there's going to be space to integrate, unpack, for us to do some healing with you. So whether you're just starting your path or you're deep into this and you're looking to up level again, which is what is being required of us, Karnak is in Upper Egypt, absolutely. And so we've got 2 weeks. It's a 2-week trip. It's the 7th to the 21st of October, 2023. And
yeah, this is going to be a deep dive. If you're ready to purge, this is going to be it, right? This is not come along and let's go skip door to door. This is not going to be that. There's going to be meditations. There's going to be exercises for you to do. You're going to purge along the way. If there's something you're being drawn to from your home that you want to bring with you, whether it's crystals or stones that you want to leave behind, feel free. Every single thing that I brought back for myself from Egypt, they told me to take back. So we're going to set those up. You guys are going to be part of all of that reconnection to helping Giza regain the energy that she's lost.
Yeah, and when I was in the King's Chamber, and we'll actually get to go into the Queen's Chamber too. I just went in early in the morning, and we ended up in there with a group of healers. There was three of us, and myself, my cousin, and a friend. And I know what to do, but you basically lie in the sarcophagus, and you're not supposed to if the guard's there, you have to give them a little money and go over there. But when you start to hum at a certain resonance, it goes woo, woo, woo. And so it basically vibrates within your whole body. And in my head, it went ka-chink, ka-chink, and it was like something was reset. And so everyone will have an experience that is unlike anything else that I've ever had. And I'm 53 this year and growing younger every day. Yeah, and who knows how many different
Yeah.
timelines. Does anybody have any questions? Anyone else been to Egypt and had amazing experiences? Share with us. We'd love to hear your thoughts on that. And then, yeah,
If you
Karnak's
have
a
questions
beautiful.
about the retreat as well. Sorry,
Yeah.
go ahead.
Yeah, no. Karnak is a retreat up in Luxor, and the reason to go there is because Sekhmet's there, and we want to see Sekhmet in person. And there's a beautiful energy there, and we don't stay on the Luxor side. We stay across the river, and it's just so calm and so quiet. And I'm not a big hustle and bustle girl because I find it too distracting. Hi, Michelle. Spent a little tiny bit of time in Cairo, and then I was like, okay, get me out of here. Yeah.
In Cairo, the highway in Cairo is hilarious. If you need a good laugh and you feel like you need to pee your pants, just go on their highway. It is literally, I'm sure you guys have all known this. You guys live in towns where there's these large highway things where it's like 5 lanes across. Okay, come rush hour in Cairo, it's like an 8-lane highway. It's like, honk, let me in. This is my lane. And they just create lanes across this thing so everyone can get home. It's hilarious.
Yeah.
I think I laughed most of my trip.
We called it Frogger, getting around in Cairo. You ready to play Frogger? Because there's no lights. So it's like, okay, go. Hop across the road.
Yeah, well, we have roundabouts here. So it's like that. Okay, ready? Go.
Exactly. I'm not 100% that we're going to hit Mount Sinai. So what I've also done, Huda or Hada, sorry if I'm not pronouncing it right, is we've allowed for a little space so that we can, and we may split as well. So if some people really wanted to get there, we could, right? So there's options, but getting down to the Red Sea is really important because it's such a beautiful spot and it's so cleansing. And it'll be a good place to sort of unpack anything else that happened while we were in Cairo. So we're really creating this flow of space and time, and we're not staying at really busy resorts. It includes all the food as well. So I'm quite aware of what needs to be eaten. And so what's the best outcome for everyone to have a great experience instead of going for some of the food, because some of the food's not there. It's not the best. So just
let's actually talk about that. Let's talk about the food, because I think that's important, because we all live in places where food is just like, here, assembly line out to the bins and stuff. What's your experience with the food when you went?
So I was able through some connections to know where good restaurants are. So there's a couple in Cairo that were really, really good. And I did eat street food. I also came home and I did a cleanse afterwards. But there's a couple restaurants that grow their own food. They serve the food that they have there, right? They have a garden and they cook that, like that's how they cook. And I ate at that restaurant most of my time when I was in Luxor, because I was like, oh, I don't want to eat anywhere else. I would look at something else. I'm like, no, you're going here. Okay, I'm going back. So I had a great relationship with the fellow, and he's the one that owns the hotel. So I had a good experience with food there. I had a good experience. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I did as well. It wasn't what I thought. There's a lot of stuff that I did not eat there. That was asked my guides just to leave me. So I think I ate 2 chicken dishes, and then the rest of the time was like fruits, and their croissants are delicious, but their fruit, I think their fruit stood apart for me. It is so fresh. You can ask Jen, I would hoard it in the hotel room. Like, you want a fish fruit? You want to eat this fruit? So we would bring it everywhere just as extras. In every hotel you went to, there was fruit in your room. There was fruit everywhere. It is so delicious. So for me, I just kind of stuck to that after. And it was amazing. It was an amazing experience to be able to try it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I heard someone laugh too, Ada. Yeah. And also I just find even right now, I'm eating a lot less. I'm eating a lot of fruit and nuts. So everyone's different. And so whatever your flux is, we accommodate that. I just got back from Vedette Lake. We did a retreat there. I like to call them retreat. Like I'm going to retreat myself. I'm going to take care of me. And we had too much food in the end because not everybody, we were busy doing, and I'm just finding that some of us are not as hungry anymore. And so lots of nuts and fruits and seeds and getting those nutritional pieces into you. And I've also learned a lot from Chef Agat about having 30 different varieties within the week that help your microbiome. So if anybody's struggling and you eat a really regimented diet of I eat 10 things every week and that's all I eat, you're missing out on something for your microbiome. So, and your gut is really a huge part of how your brain is operating. They're very connected, and getting reconnected with your body, being very connected. Your body is giving you signals all the time for what is going on for you and maybe what you need to work and focus on. So, and we're both very intuitive. I'm a huge container. I never know what I know until somebody starts talking about a subject and I'm like, oh yeah, no. And that I can hold that space and nothing can really sway me. So every time somebody's gone through something big in their life that's quite, I'll say flighty, right? They're very much up here and I'm working on, right, both. So being super grounded and then being able to tap in as well. And so when you're really flighty, I'm the grounder. So as much as anybody's, in that space, that's really helpful as well. Yeah. It's October.
Can you share with them your experience of doing the grids while you were there?
Yeah, absolutely. So in using the rods, I asked, what do I need to do? And everything is on ley lines. If you don't know what ley lines are Earth's meridian system. And that means energy flow. And so a lot of rivers are ley lines. A lot of highways are on ley lines. But every single sacred site, like most old churches, are on ley lines for a reason, right? The pyramids are on a ley line, and you can actually start to map it out and see how it all plays out. Mount Shasta is a huge node point. And so when we do this, and apparently I'm going to be working on a documentary about the ley lines in Egypt and how much. So when you want to know who you are, go back to the beginning, right? And this is a really good point for many of us. Was Egypt. And so those ley lines and intersecting, the Nile is a ley line. The Nile is, I believe, within us in a way, right? It runs through us energetically. And by going back there, I was led to throw crystals into the Nile, drop this one here, do this over there, have a little ceremony here. And so I did that and picked up stones along the way. And at the end, they all went into the Nile for humanity's greatest good. And I'm not the only one. I hear lots of stories about people taking crystals and doing things. But when you really just do what you're called to do, and then you come home and you start to see the shift, and it's like, and then another person gives you a piece of the key, and oh yeah, that makes sense. And so It's just a magical unfolding.
Yeah, it's setting that intention before you go. My intention before I went was to clear anything in my way that wasn't for my highest and best good. And that is exactly what happened. It was so amazing how it unfolded. It was beautiful the way it ended. And it was just amazing the next 6 weeks after I got home. The purge was actually really hard, but in the end, it was like the shining moment of being able to just let everything go. And even for me, like my guys told me I never have to go back to Giza ever again. Everything that I've ever done there, witnessed there, is done. It's healed. It's the end of it. I'm like, but I want to walk people through that journey for themselves. So setting that intention before you go somewhere, whether it's good or bad, the outcome, because you're going to determine that for yourself. Nothing is really bad. Setting that intention for yourself that says, I'm willing to walk through this crap to be able to have that end result of positive and joy and love, do it. It is so worth it. And that's what part of this is about. This is about being able to reflect in. It's about creating sisterhood and soul family and, having males come in too. Like that to me is a sisterhood as well. It doesn't have to be the brotherhood, right? It's bringing everybody together so that we can all rise together and walk together. There is no separation. Egypt will ground and humble you into that 100%.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Cynthia, I was going to say, it's interesting about the stones. I'll just share this quick. On our way home from Egypt, I got flagged at the airport, and in my luggage bag, I had sand and stones, and they took all of it. And they allowed my girlfriend to keep her sand. And I said, you do know that the rocks equal the sand. Like, it becomes the sand. He gave me back stones. The moment I sat down on the plane, I still had it in my hand. They said, leave them behind. I'm not allowed to bring the stones home. So I put them in the front of the seat in front of me and left the plane. Wasn't allowed to bring them home. And now they're telling me to bring my statues back. And I'm like, that's so interesting that it's not needed anymore. So the other thing I wanted to share is about the food. I didn't know this, but my girlfriend Jennifer knows this. You can actually pack your things from home that you like as well. Just put them in your carry-on luggage or put them in your suitcase. So she brought like Cheerios and Chex Mix, and I actually brought tea bags because I enjoy a cup of tea now and then. So I would bring my own of that. And I didn't know you could bring, and as long as it's not meat and dairy, you can bring it with you. So if you have a certain thing that you like and you want to bring it, you can.
Yeah, absolutely. And the dates. The dates are so good there. Fresh dates. So that was probably one of my favorite things. Yeah. So certainly didn't struggle or suffer. And I swam in the Nile. Yeah. Everyone's like, you can't swim in the Nile. There's alligator. I'm like, there's no freaking Nile. The stories you hear, right? Question everything. So yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yes. That was a big thing before I went. I wanted my kids to come, and I had convinced them that it's a terrorist country and they walk around with guns and I can tell you that is all not true. It is not true. They're very kind. They're humbling. They're a little bit like, they'll try to convince you to buy stuff like panhandlers. Other than that though, it's not what you think. It is not. Let go of the stories you've been told. That was the biggest eye opener for me, is like, everyone was afraid, but what is there to fear? Fear is only something you bring in. So be open. I'm just wondering if you want to go through the cost, the dates, those things, so that everybody has that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So October 7th to the 21st. 777. So 7,777.77 Canadian. So that's a great deal for those of you that are not in Canada. And that includes your accommodation. It includes your in-country transportation. So we'll be traveling by a private bus coach. We'll all be together. And I think that'll be actually one of the magic parts of the journey, just because. We also include your food. It doesn't include your shopping, but includes all your tickets, the privates. So it's a very, very, very action-packed price. Like it's a good price. Absolutely. So you do need to get your ticket there. Yeah. And you're welcome to come a little bit early, and you'll have to cover that, but you're welcome. I can help find somewhere to stay. I'm going early. I'll be there 3 or 4 days early, just because that's how I roll. And you'll be flying into Cairo. And if you choose to fly out of Luxor, you could do that. So it just depends on what you're doing, or we'll get you back to Cairo. So we'll go in and out of Cairo. And if you guys
is cheaper round trip from one airport.
It is cheaper. Yeah, I did look at that as well. It's also, it's about, wasn't it expensive? 120, I think, when I flew from Luxor. So I did the drive up, but I did in a car, and he wanted to go at night. And I was like, oh, okay. And so I didn't sleep that night. I'm like, yeah, no, my need my sleep. So I chose to, when I went back down, to just fly down. It was easier. And also with the, where was I going with that one? Oh, energetically there too. You will feel the energies. And I have a guide at Karnak. I have a guide with us the entire time for translations. Also, he's like a protector, and he will not try and sell you stuff. And I told him that that's the old way. The new way is going to be energetically attracting the right people. So there'll be people that I'll be sending to you in the future that do not want to be sold to. Like it's just, it gets annoying after a while. And so, yeah, I basically would just put my hand up, and yeah. Thanks, Michelle. About 5,800 US. Yeah. For 2 weeks. Yeah. 100%. So, all right.
So cheap. I just gotta tell you.
Yeah.
So if you're interested, reach out to Tanya.
Yeah.
Want them to reach out to you?
Yeah, reach out to me. I'm just going to post the website in the chat.
Yeah, say it out loud as well.
www.adventuresforconnection.com/Egypt. Yeah, and you can reach out to me on Messenger, like wherever you're comfortable doing that. So, and Seraphine can always direct to me as well. So I'm very quick and efficient to get back to people. You don't need any shots. You get a visa when you get there at the airport, and that's about $30. So that's part of your flight trip, because I don't know when I won't be at the airport, but I can arrange for pickup as needed, and we'll make sure you get there safely. And so, yeah, it's basically taking care of you to come and have this once in a lifetime, in my opinion, experience of Egypt, and have it so that we've got you from the flight all the way through. And my cousin, who was there for 3 days, was just like, I never would have had this experience. And she's watching what I'm doing and just keeps saying, you know, you've changed so much and it's so much for the good. She's not quite there yet energetically, but she's working through some stuff and coming along. She's like, I've never felt that way. I thought it would be a check it off the bucket list. I didn't feel rushed. I felt safe, contained, like everyone had space, and we were humming where we went. We were sneaking in places. So it was just really, really, really a nice experience for her. And she manages hotels, so she gets to go and see a lot of things. And she was like, yeah, that was really magical. Thank you. So if you want a little magic in your life, come out and stay.
Yeah, if you want more information, reach out to Tanya and I. We'll create groups if we need to chit chat about if you have questions that you need answered. Feel free to reach out to Tanya as well. She's planned most of this whole trip, so I just literally sat back and went, "How can I help?" So yes, she would know more about some of the stuff than I would about what we're doing, but I have the itinerary as well. But if this is something you're considering, just reach out, get the information, and just allow your credit card to have your experience with you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let your credit card support you for this trip.
Yeah.
I can't even tell you. Most people charge the same amount that she's charging for this 2-week trip for 5 days.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. So
it's
the connections I made. Yeah, absolutely. The link had an error message. Thank you. Adventures for. All right. So let's just do the Adventures for Connection. Thank you for that. Appreciate it. So the slash isn't working. It could be because we just set it up, but it's there. Okay, try that one now, please, and let me know, Cindy. That would be great. Yeah, and then I can delete this comment. There we go. And yeah, any questions at all? So I'm super excited to go. And I know this is just the beginning. So I created Adventures for Connection. Let's talk about that. And let's just quickly talk about this logo, because a lot of people are like, what is that? So we all have masculine and feminine within us. And when we balance the two, there's that little spark in the middle, right? And that one side is masculine, one side is feminine. And when you get that balance going, that's the streamline for you to be so connected, consciousness to spirit. And many of you maybe not even realize it, but I like to use my feminine for many things. I do come across quite masculine for action, but I've learned over the last few years that sitting and using that intuition and then taking the action. Use the intuition, take the action. So if you go all action, you're going to wear yourself out. If you go all intuition, nothing's going to happen. Right? We need to have that flow in between. So if you want something, you need to take even just a little step towards it as if it's already happened. And now it can flow. Now it can flow and can happen. So, and I'll just delete that other one comment.
Does anybody have any questions that's on this stream right now? If you have any questions, just ask right now. We'll get them. If not, then we can just reach out.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I'll be posting more photos and videos. There is a video clip, and I've got a whole folder. So I'll get a live out probably on YouTube next week and go through my last trip and how I showed up and what we did. And it'll give you a feel for kind of how I operate. I always go on traveling. I don't look up places. I don't get all like, I need to do this, and this, because you set up an expectation. So we give the framework and we're like, this is what we want to hit. This is our rough schedule, and then we'll adjust as we go, because in your openness to whatever magic might come through is how it really, really happens. When you set an expectation on a trip and then it doesn't work out that way, you just ruined your entire trip. So yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Michelle. Appreciate you. She put up the right link. There we go.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Trust your gut. If this is the right trip for you, trust that it's right for you.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I appreciate you so much. So much. I'm grateful that we're doing this together. It feels so good, so aligned. Like,
yeah. Absolutely. Yes. Jennifer, we're not answering questions on that right now. You'll have to catch a different live for that one.
Thank you.
Sending you lots of love, and we'll chat soon, and wishing everyone a wonderful 777 day. So,
yeah, right.
There you have it. Okay. Bye.
Bye.